Good evening. I'd like to call the Plan Commission meeting to order on Monday, November 6, 2023. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Commissioner Jackson.
Here.
Commissioner Williams.
Here.
Commissioner Knox.
Here.
Commissioner Weber.
Here.
Commissioner Voskel.
Here.
Commissioner Udell.
Here.
And Commissioner Markline.
Here.
All members are present.
Thank you. Item number 2, approval of minutes, pass under consent unless seeing otherwise. So moved. Item number 3, the approval of final plats and certified survey maps and easement releases. Certified survey map 23017-T as in Tom, James and Janice Cannell, one lot along West Hanover Road in the town of Rock. Certified survey map 23018-T, Gary and Bonnie Miller, 2 lots along North Partridge Hollow Drive in the town of Janesville. Both items pass under consent unless seeing otherwise. So moved. Item number 4, set for public hearing. First item set for public hearing is a rezoning of property located at 921 South Jackson Street from M2 to B3. That's set for public hearing on November 20th, 2023. Second item set for public hearing is a conditional use permit request to construct a new facility for Boys and Girls Club of Janesville at 925 South Jackson Street, which is set for a public hearing on November 20th, 2023. Set for public hearing number 3 is request for a conditional use permit amendment to expand a hatchery operation at 1435 Center Avenue, McFarland Pheasants. That is set for public hearing on November 20th, 2023. Item number 4, set for public hearing, is a request for a conditional use permit to construct a 2-family residence at 3209 Spruce Court, set for public hearing on November 20th, 2023. Item number 5, set for public hearing, zoning upon annexation of property located at 3430 Mineral Point Avenue to R1, single family and 2-family residence district, set for public hearing on November 20th, 2023. Item number 6, set for public hearing, is a zoning upon annexation of property located at 2306 East Delavan Drive to R1, single family and 2-family residence district, set for public hearing on November 20th, 2023. Item number 5, old business. The first item and only item under old business is a public hearing, action on a proposed resolution recommending adoption of an update to the City of Janesville Comprehensive Plan Commission Resolution Number 2023-04.
Okay, thank you. This evening, the Planning Division is happy to present information on the draft update to the City of Janesville's Comprehensive Plan, following more than 2 years of preparation and working with the steering committee, various stakeholders, and the general public. Following a brief presentational overview of those efforts, including a required public hearing this evening, staff would like the Commission to address any questions, comments, concerns they may have regarding the draft plan, and then consider taking action to recommend approval of the draft update to the city's comprehensive plan. But first, I'd like to provide some context regarding the plan update and its process that led up to the completion of the draft document. As we all know, the city's existing comprehensive plan was adopted back in 2009 after extensive public input efforts in that process. And pursuant to the city's smart growth planning legislation, otherwise known as the comprehensive planning law here today, plans must be updated periodically to maintain their relevancy, if you will, and purpose to each community. That is generally a 10-year time frame. The city of Janesville embarked on this process in early 2021 to kickstart that update. We conducted that in-house. The plan itself outlines a community vision with objectives, goals, policies, programs, and a number of recommendations in the various elements. Ultimately, it provides a growth and development plan for a 20-year planning horizon. It requires consistency of local decision-making actions that generally revolve around land use decisions concerning zoning, subdivision of land, official mapping, annexation, and other decisions. The existing document that we have was moved forward through a number of guiding principles and recommendations that were established in early discussions with the Plan Commission in late 2020, early 2021. The guiding principles, if you will, recognize that the existing plan is still largely relevant in its current form, serves the community's purposes very well, provided a solid framework from a policy standpoint for an update, and also recognizing that this effort was not going to include or necessitate a whole-scale rewrite or recreation of the plan, if you will. It would look at evaluating the existing document, comparing it to the community as well as the nation as a whole, and updating it with targeted modifications. And then lastly, if the commission recalls, early on in the process, also under Wisconsin statutes, there is a need to establish a public participation process and set of procedures for incorporating public input as the plan update occurs. The public participation procedures that were adopted ultimately by council through resolution were, again, very extensive. They include opportunities for public input at every stage of the planning process. I won't go through all of those, but we've incorporated opportunities for public input in a variety of ways through the city's website, opportunities for written comments, emails, calls through that website. We've pushed information out for each meeting, every focus group session, every discussion, whenever possible through a listserv, and have also engaged directly with a number of stakeholders. There's a delay here. The process itself is laid out according to this timeline of events. And as you see here, it's color-coded. Generally speaking, the process really started to get some momentum and movement in August of 2021, a little over 2 years ago, where Volume 1, which is that first section of the plan that includes all the existing conditions, also incorporates projections for population, land use, and household growth over time. We kicked that off back in August of 21, moved forward with 3 meetings at the end of 2021, 4 meetings in 2022, and 5 with the steering committee that's comprised of the Janesville Plan Commission to lead this process over the course of that time frame. Particular emphasis was applied toward 3 elements that include housing, land use, and economic development. Along the lines of this schedule, you will see that included 2 meetings on the housing topic, I think 3 on land use and 2 on economic development, with a separate focus group event on economic development being held in August of this year. Substantial rewrites occurred with those 2 chapters, housing and economic development, with more limited modifications to the land use chapter itself. Be remiss if I didn't indicate that we created a new chapter in Volume 1 entitled Public Health. I'll talk just a little bit more about that as we move on. But the schedule is shown here. The list of activities, events that have been conducted are provided. We are now at the final stages of review of a draft final document of the plan by holding a public hearing here this evening before the Plan Commission for your review and recommendation on to the City Council. Let's see. As you all know, there are 9 required elements. We did add that public health chapter. Those with the asterisks behind them represent particular areas of the plan where more intense review and modification did occur. The The remote mouse doesn't like me up here. There's a time delay. Brian, can you go back a slide, please? One more, advance one more, please. So, along with your materials that were distributed as part of the agenda here this evening, we have included a draft executive summary document or report that highlights the significant elements of the comprehensive plan and the update to that document. We expect that will be a fairly comprehensive, if you will, shortcut to the essence of the plan, which captures information regarding each of the elements, the major recommendations. It breaks down recommendations as well by the various themes that support the vision for the plan. And then finally, at the end, include recommendations by sub-area of the city so you can focus on one particular major geographic side rather than looking at recommendations overall. Additionally, roughly 2 weeks ago, the city held a public open house on the draft document. Staff provided what I guess I would say is a fairly extensive presentation on the draft plan and the information that showcased the changes to that document. That was uploaded and is and will continue to be available on the city's website devoted to the comprehensive plan update effort. You can also find those poster boards or images of those poster boards, I should say, on that website as well for greater understanding of what is incorporated into the document. The plan itself really revolves around a few elements that have been trickled through the full document, meaning in this case public health, identifying that longstanding relationship between planning and public health. What does that mean? Recognizing that community health and well-being is influenced by our built environment. The notion that improving quality of life is a way to improve community health and well-being, and that more walkable, bikeable, mixed-use neighborhoods with neighborhoods serving businesses and other support activities also serve to improve community health and well-being. We also, one of the other major themes that we talked extensively about was complete neighborhoods. And what does that mean? It means providing a variety of housing types, expanding housing options, enhancing the desirability of neighborhoods, both new and existing, improving community health outcomes, and activating lifestyles for residents within the community. In terms of the economy, in updating the economic development chapter, focused extensively on workforce development, attraction, retention, expansion, industrial development, attraction, retention, and expansion, as well as a lot of conversation about mixed-use development and how certain areas of older commercial corridors can be repurposed, taking underutilized properties and reinventing them and redeveloping them with a mixture, a combination of uses, which currently doesn't exist as part of the city's land development code, zoning ordinance. Jumped ahead. Brian, can you jump back? I can't touch this thing. It keeps jumping ahead. One more, please. And then finally, the future land use map, one of the most referred to elements of the comprehensive plan, particularly in the realm of land use decision making and review. Changes to the plan were very limited. The changes or revisions, if you will, really looked at modifying a future land use designation in those locations where zoning decisions since 2009 have been made, and there's a incongruence, if you will, between those designations to essentially clean those up or reconcile those. But the map itself, when we look at the allocation of land, the designation of particular land uses in and around the city, has and will continue to serve the community's needs very well to accommodate projected growth. The update process also looked hard at whether or not any other modifications to the future land use map should be made, and a decision was arrived at to not alter the map at this point in time for a couple different reasons. One, that it again is well positioned to continue to serve the city's needs, but that we do have an amendment process. And as development opportunities or land use pressures, needs, changes occur, there's a mechanism in place to bring forward a change to the map. And there's a process that's defined in the document in order to make that happen. But lastly, and I think most importantly, there was recognition that one of the preeminent recommendations that comes out of this update is the absolute need to move forward with a reformation of the city's land development code, specifically the zoning and subdivision ordinances. And that by way of looking at that code, reestablishing a new scheme or suite of zoning classifications and a description of land use activities within those, that we will inevitably come back and revisit this map to make adjustments that align with a future zoning update to the city of Janesville to meet those needs. And so for those reasons, fairly limited modifications to the future land use map have been applied. Why are we updating the code? One, it's outdated. It's more than 40 years old. The zoning code in particular includes a number of land use descriptions that one would question their relevancy yet today. We want to simplify the code. We want to reduce regulatory barriers. We want to expand the opportunity for mixed use and providing multiple housing options in a manner and a way that the code currently today is not designed to accommodate. And then finally, there's more than just a modification to the regulatory elements of land development within the community. It's also needing to coincide with more detailed planning in specific areas to ensure that those recommendations for not only what's shown on the future land use map, but the zoning code to be updated can fully implement opportunities for economic growth, for redevelopment, for expansion of infill and growth in new residential areas. And with that, thank you. And with that, staff is recommending adoption by Plan Commission of this comprehensive plan update to the City Council. Specifically, following review of the plan update as well as the required public hearing this evening, the Planning Division is recommending that the Commission forward resolution number 2023-04, recommending approval of an update to the comprehensive plan for the City of Janesville to the City Council with a favorable recommendation. I did forget to mention that the written comments that the city has received, both from the public open house and anytime thereafter, have been incorporated into your materials and the agenda items, with the exception of two that we've received as of late. Last week, I received an email from the interim administrator at the City of Milton requesting that the plan include language that considers the pursuit of an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Milton along the Highway 26 corridor to ensure that both communities maintain some sort of community separation and identity through discussions that or actions that may involve annexation, extraterritorial plat review jurisdiction, and development along that corridor. Currently today there's an unofficial boundary, if you will, that goes back to discussions that occurred with the reconstruction of the Highway 26 bypass, which starts here just on the north side of Janesville. The other is a letter that I handed out here at the outset of the meeting from Rock County, with comments that pertain to the draft plan. Staff has not had an opportunity to review those yet, but we're passing those along for the commission since they were received here before the meeting tonight. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions prior to opening? Commissioner Markland?
Well, we're gonna open the public hearing. You can open the public hearing and then I'll talk.
Oh, you want me to do that? I mean, there isn't anyone there. I know. Is this a trick question?
Oh, it's a
Oh,
trick question.
okay.
I got comments.
Okay. I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak? Anyone wishing to speak? Anyone wishing to speak? For those of you that are viewing, there is no one in the audience. I just want to clarify that, outside of staff. Public hearing is closed.
Okay, now, first question. What is the process, this is for people listening, watching. What is the process if a development is proposed that is counter to the comprehensive plan that we may or may not update tonight? In a short version.
And I missed part of the first part of the question. What is the process?
What is the process if a development comes forward that is counter to the plan?
Sure. So, as we all know, the future land use map identifies or provides recommendations for future land use categories of development. If a proposal comes forward that is inconsistent with the recommendations of that plan, a determination to pursue what would be referred to as an official amendment to the map, or if you will, the comprehensive plan by way of the future land use map, would be necessitated. That process requires that the applicant, which could be the landowner, a prospective buyer, developer, would need to provide information to the city that demonstrates the intent. What is it that the proposed development would include? Meaning a physical illustration of the land use activity and how that land use activity would align with language not only in the plan under that future designation, but how would it meet the goals, the objectives, and recommendations of the land use chapter overall. So we have an amendment process that's laid out in the document. It does detail the elements of review, but they would need to submit that to the city. The city would evaluate that again against the plan, and then ultimately offer a recommendation that would come forward for Plan Commission review under a public hearing process. It's very similar to a zoning process from the standpoint of public hearing and review action. We would set it for a public hearing, one meeting in advance, and then hold a public hearing. But ultimately, we would review the proposed amendment against the language in the code, the goals, the recommendations, the policies as established for that area of the city from the standpoint of how we've reviewed amendments here in the past.
Now, do you approach it differently if it's infill versus on the perimeter of the city?
Would we the process is the same. The manner in which it would be reviewed or evaluated potentially may be different because we look at a variety of things. We look at land use in the surrounding area and what the impacts would be associated with, and again, not knowing the proposal. But one of the things that we need to, I think, recall with this update is we've included a variety of policies and recommendations that look at expanding housing opportunities, particularly in infill areas, or expanding the intensity of development if it's non-residential, in fact, in certain infill areas, and also promoting, whenever and wherever possible, mixed-use opportunities under the guise of complete neighborhoods. Again, what we're trying to do is create neighborhoods, developments, areas within the city that promote walkability, connections, accessibility, activities, neighborhood commercial opportunities, and what makes that work is density of population. And so with the new language in the plan and not having evaluated an amendment yet, I think it's fair to say that the review that we would conduct is a bit new, because it's incorporating the modifications to the plan that transcend just one particular area. Housing affects land use affects housing and transportation. You see it in our plan that there is a intentional reiteration of many of those concepts for purposes of maintaining the desired outcome of what we establish with the definition of planned neighborhoods and promotion of mixed use and activating areas.
Now let's take it to the next level. We've identified 6 or 7 areas with unique challenges. Do we have a priority or a schedule on how we do that? And part 2, are we waiting for development, or is the city ready to kickstart something to see some action on these areas? Milton Avenue,
Yeah.
Center
well,
Avenue.
We haven't prioritized those. I think to a certain extent, that has to occur through other direction, namely the city council direction. We've identified areas that are ripe for attention, if you will, and there's more than one. Along the lines of commercial corridors, I think language that we have in the plan doesn't give, again, this is a comprehensive plan for the city in its entirety, and we're identifying locations that include opportunities for improvement on all sides of the city. We have not prioritized those. Certainly, as redevelopment proposals come forward, as property becomes available within any one of those corridors, that may certainly necessitate or prompt a study, a corridor study, if you will. But at this point in time, those have not been prioritized. And I think intentionally not, for purposes of providing opportunities for the administration, for the Plan Commission, for the council to prioritize those accordingly.
Now, when we did the Downtown Arise, we had focus groups come to the schools and talk about the downtown. Is that something the city council and the plan commission, or not the plan commission, the planning department would want to undertake on these areas to try to get the community to get some buy-in and some feedback on focus groups to do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. We can initiate, attention provided in a particular area of the city in a variety of ways. Oftentimes that's prompted by, like you said, a major project, a major development, redevelopment. Often, for instance, on the west side, West Court Street, the Westgate business owners in the past have organized themselves in support and promotion of West Side related business activity. We need to have the stakeholders. The stakeholders need to be the property owners and other interested parties that have the ability to create momentum for change, and the city can assist. There is also a limit to what we can do in-house, clearly, with the resources that we have and the activities that are underway. And so opportunities for assistance with outside firm, in other words, a consultant for consultant studies, is probably the likely reality moving forward. And I say that because the full expectation and intention with moving on beyond the comprehensive plan is to immerse ourselves in that major land development code update of the subdivision and zoning ordinance. And that will be assisted through an outside consulting firm to get that through the process. But that is going to be probably a 1.5 to 2 year long process. And that will, I think, absorb a lot of existing staff's time to assist in that effort, even though it is being organized and directed by a consultant. Staff will have to be heavily engaged in that. We also, as I mentioned in our staff report, have other ongoing updates to plans that need to be updated periodically coming forward on the heels of this, such as the 5-year Parks and Open Space Plan. You'll be seeing that very soon. We're working with Rock County on what we refer to as our 208 plan, which is the city's sanitary sewer growth boundary and plan that defines the area within which the city can extend public sanitary sewer for purposes of outwardly growth and expansion. And then we're going to be embarking on our update to the city, well, the Janesville area MPO's long-range transportation plan. So there are a variety of activities that are occurring, some of them simultaneously, others that come up based on priority, need, demand. General Motors is another one that I would expect we'll likely see some movement forward in one way or another on maybe additional land use planning or assistance to those that may be advancing efforts for redevelopment. Just don't know the timing. So great questions. I think
more.
that's part of.
Got one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you're going to think I'm piling on, but I think it's imperative that you start on your zoning right away, and I'd like to know if it's budgeted, and then I have a follow-up.
Yes, it is budgeted, and we do intend to start on that right away with putting out a request for proposals, defining the scope of what it is that we want and expect and need to do, and then getting that underway in early 2024.
Okay, because when I read the articles, the letters that we get, I think most of it falls into more zoning than it fell into the comprehensive plan.
Correct.
I don't think the community completely understands the separation between the two. And I think the last time we did it, we were going to do zoning, and then we had GM closed and the pandemic and all kinds of stuff, so we never got around to it. But I think it's imperative that you start on that tomorrow. And I'm glad to hear that it's budgeted, because that was a hang-up before. We didn't have the time and the money. So I think, we need to change our zoning to do your recommendations. Otherwise, this is all for naught. What I would like to see in here, and it's also pointed out in the letter from Rock County, he said it almost as good as I could have said it. And that is, we need, number 2, we need to relook at somebody bringing a development in, and you just telling them, bring us the detailed neighborhood plan. You just can't do that. You can't afford to do that on your own. You need input from their staff and input from other people to do that. And I've heard that from a lot of developers around here that, they want us to come in with everything, all the I's dotted, the T's ready to go. And then you'll look at it and make recommendations. And it doesn't work that way. Not in this climate. That's all I got.
That's a lot. Good.
I did
Thanks
my
for
homework.
asking a lot of the questions that I'm sure other commission members wanted to ask, so. Commissioner Williams?
You mentioned that Milton had concerns. Are those being addressed, or?
Yes, we actually, and I did send back to them the language that we have in the document that speaks directly to that. I think their comment was that they would like to see that occur within some definitive time frame in the plan, as opposed to a comment that indicates an expression of considering an intergovernmental boundary agreement.
And to this letter that we got from Rock County, when did you receive this?
A little after 4 o'clock this afternoon.
And we've been working on this since 2021. And have you had back and forth with Rock County as far as this? I know you said that
Yeah.
you,
Well, I know that the county, multiple representatives from different county agencies have been directly involved in the plan. Certainly, you've seen attendance from the Rock County Health Department and at almost all of our steering committee meetings. The planning department, by way of their economic development representative, has certainly been involved in the recreation of the economic development chapter, the focus group discussion, the public open house, and is certainly a major stakeholder that is included on all the correspondence that goes out, that's disseminated with our steering committee meetings that we schedule. So I would, I guess, say that yes, they've been involved in this process. They have known about the update since the outset of the effort and have had, an equal opportunity, just as all other interested parties, in commenting on the plan up to this point.
but to your knowledge, this is the first time you've gotten a letter from
It
the
is,
director.
correct. It is the first written comment received from Rock County.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I would just like to agree with the comments of this most recent letter. And I would actually say the few comments that we received from the focus group, which is a lot of the comments, I think, from the public are wanting to be engaged in the details, right? Where that is not necessarily the intent of the comprehensive plan. So to the point that you made, Commissioner Markline, about, moving forward, now that we know there's budget, and then obviously the direction from the council and others will determine where we might be looking at corridors, that we would facilitate that as part of that process. Hopefully the council would then suggest, as well as the administration, that we have a little bit more public participation. And as someone who's been doing this for a while and has served on the council, I would say that could we do better? Yes, but I would also say we're very intense on public participation. A lot of times you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. But in this instance, even with the process of this, we had so many things. I don't even want to start listing them because I'm afraid it's like thanking people. I'll forget to thank one person. But there were many opportunities for individuals, electronic, email, you name it. So always room for improvement, but I do believe this letter, as well as the other comments that we got, fall in that category of, hopefully they subscribe or pay attention to Plan Commission agendas, where a lot of where the sausage gets made on some of these development projects, these details will be discussed. So that being said, again, the next part of this is for us as a plan commission to decide if we would like to forward this to the city council. And I guess that's where I would ask the plan commission at this point in time. I know we've all been doing this for 2 years, and we're pretty well versed on what we've been able to put together with the staff. Goes without saying that it was in-house and was above and beyond anything that they were currently doing as well. So a very busy time, very grateful for that, and also very grateful, and I think we as a plan commission should be proud of the energy and effort that we put in over these last 2 years to put forward. But it's not finished yet, so I'll entertain whatever the wishes of the Plan Commission are at this particular moment in time. Commissioner Williams.
I would move to forward resolution number 2023-04, recommending approval of an update to the comprehensive plan for the city of Janesville to the city council with a favorable recommendation.
There's a motion by Commissioner Williams, second by Commissioner Markline. Commissioner Williams, you have the floor.
I think we've all done hard work in 2 years, and it's time to put this baby to bed.
Commissioner Markline?
It's important to me that we go right into the zoning. That's the key to making this work. Otherwise, I don't think we did a whole lot the last 2 years that's going to matter if we don't get the zoning thing fixed up.
So there's a motion and a second. At this time, I'll ask for a voice vote.
Commissioner Jackson,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Knox,
Yes.
Commissioner Weber,
Yes.
Commissioner Voskel,
Yes.
Commissioner Udell,
Yes.
and Commissioner Markline.
Yes.
Motion carries as unanimously approved.
And then for process, Dwayne, this is on the city council agenda now. Would it be December 11th? Was that, am I getting my?
Correct. The next city council agenda would set this item based on the action of Plan Commission this evening for a public hearing to be held and conducted on the city council agenda of a meeting of December 11th, correct?
And then all the comments go in the packet as well, correct, to the council
Yes.
members?
We will forward everything that the Plan Commission has received in your agenda packet here this evening to the city council, including the additional item that I passed out before the meeting.
Thank you. Sure.
I was first on the Plan Commission. Attorney Bob Consini joined me on the thing, and I truly enjoyed his company. If he was here today, he'd say, "This is a big deal. Where is everybody?"
So true. So true. All right, well, moving on to the next item on the agenda, item number 6, new business. There is no new business this evening, which moves us to item number 7, the director's report.
Yes, included in the Plan Commission packet are the city council action items from their last meeting of October 23rd. I won't go through those, and beyond that, I have no other comments other than to say that at the next Plan Commission meeting on November 20th, you do have several public hearings that were obviously introduced tonight. That is the week of Thanksgiving, and it includes a couple of actionable items for the Janesville Boys and Girls Club down on South Jackson Street. So just keep that in mind as you look forward to the meeting in 2 weeks.
I just want to add, I know I keep saying this, but I think it's so important. Thank you very much to all of you for working so hard on this comprehensive plan. And it is not easy, it is not lost on any of us. So we're not done yet. It has to go another step. But I want you to know, we really appreciate you and all the things that you do and all the things that you do that we don't know that you do. So thank you. Moving on to Plan Commission announcements. Are there any? None? We're adjourned. Thank you.